All right, Strez. Virginia Tech finally got a head coach, Mr. James Franklin.
Clap it
Initial
up.
thoughts.
Clap it up for James. Yeah, I, I think initially I thought it was going to take way longer for these schools, because there's like 70, 67 schools that have like a head coach opening at this point, and it's just like there's going to be a lot of rounds of interviews and stuff. But I mean, we've talked about it for weeks, on the show, just off air, all kinds of stuff. Like we're like Virginia Tech is the perfect landing place for James Franklin. Like he needs to take a step away from being, up with the big dogs and go join, kind of a mid-tier. You're still in the Power 4, but go join more of a mid-tier team and bring them into the conversation. Kind of like Drinkowitz at Missouri. I can never remember Arizona State's head coach's name.
Oh, that's going to make me mad because I literally was just looking at something because his quarterback's looking at, the rumors are that Sam Levitt's looking at transferring.
Yeah. But I
Uh,
can
oh, no, Arizona State. Not Arizona. We don't know. Kenny Dillingham.
Dillingham. I knew it started with a D. I could never remember what the D was. But yeah, Dillingham, like he kind of brought Arizona State out of, whatever they were in before he got there. And now they've been relevant. They made the college football playoff in the first 12 team thing, and they would be in that conversation this year had Sam Levitt not got hurt, So there are like coaches that are going and doing that at different programs around the country. And I fully believe that James Franklin honestly could go out and win the ACC in year one, definitely by year two. And so I just think it was a good move for him, a good move. Virginia Tech did a great job landing, they're the first one to make the hire. They got one of the better head coaches out of the bunch. Um, just hope that there's no top 10 teams on the schedule for Virginia Tech next season, I guess.
Yeah, okay, according to what I could find today, the compensation package hasn't been fully released, but it is a 5-year deal. He negotiated his buyout with Penn State down to $9 million rather than the $50 million that he was to be paid.
He gave $41 million back. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you know the two names when all this initially started, it was Brian Kelly, James Franklin. Where are these guys going to end up? I think what is so crazy is you've got two guys who have won at incredibly high levels, both of which were at schools that were a play or two away from playing for a national championship at different points. And James Franklin, since his firing, nothing but positive things from players that have played with for him. Nothing but glowing things being said. Brian Kelly, nothing positive outside of one guy, I guess, that came out and said thank you to Coach Kelly. But you've got James Franklin giving money back to the place he just left because he doesn't want to leave them in a bad place.
It's just crazy.
And then Brian Kelly going at it with LSU right now, trying to get every dime he can get because I think he's looking at the scope of college football and going, I'm probably not going to, my name is not being thrown around for the Florida jobs or, Arkansas. His name is not being talked about with any of these big jobs. He's going to end up at a place like an Oklahoma State. If,
Maybe,
he decides.
if that.
It's just very, and I agree with you. James Franklin just seems to do really well at places where he's got to build.
Yeah, he did a good job at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
I think he did a really, really good job at Penn State. Unfortunately, he started coaching at Penn State kind of in the golden era of Ohio State and the Wolverines. So kind of a rough draw there. And then with the conference expansion, Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks came into town, and Lane Kiffin's finally got USC rolling the way that we always thought that he was going to get USC rolling. So kind of a tough break, right? Like the first, half of his tenure at Penn State, Urban Meyer was the head coach at Ohio State. And then Jim Harbaugh comes in, and then Ryan Day takes over at Ohio State, and those two go back to back in national championships, and Penn State could never beat them. So, but I mean, you're talking he was recruiting well enough to have the talent to be in those games.
Yeah.
Not necessarily win those games, but be in those games. And if he is able to somehow get the talent, maybe even 80% of the talent that he had at Penn State to Virginia Tech is going to be the face of the ACC. They are going to be what Clemson was in 2016 through 2021.
Yeah, because there's a lot of question marks with Clemson. There's a lot of question marks with what is Miami going to do at quarterback next year. Franklin has recruited Micah Parsons, Miles Sanders. I mean, he can recruit. And, now he's recruiting to a place that you want to talk about like diehard fan base. I mean, they've been showing up, selling out for years when there wasn't anything fun to go watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
it's a Virginia Tech, like the Hokies have a great game day tradition.
Yep.
I mean, I don't like their color scheme at all. I think it's one of the ugliest color schemes in like all of college sports, but they make it work. They really do make it work. They're one of the best, most electric entrances in college football. It's going to be a different atmosphere for him, coming from Happy Valley, which I think is like 110,000, 108,000. Going to, Virginia Tech, where it's definitely not going to be holding as many people. But as you said, like that stadium, it's going to be full every single Saturday.
Yeah, Blacksburg, Virginia is beautiful. That part of Virginia is gorgeous. There's a lot of things for him to be able to build on. I know they rolled out a big expansion package. They want to get their facilities on par with everyone else's. And, that's kind of when you're looking at places coaches could go, we don't necessarily talking about Lane Kiffin, but there are places that used to just be stepping stones to try to get the big job. And now you're seeing with Arizona State, BYU, you can build
North Texas.
You got the money, you can build a lot of success there. And now with rev share, people keep talking about NIL. And when I was talking to Tyler Siskey, he kept saying, just remember, we're coming out of the NIL era into the rev share era.
Yeah.
That's going to even the playing field a lot.
Even more.
For, what people can do. And, the ACC is wide open. North Carolina is not going to get good anytime soon unless something happens. Yeah. So
Bill Belichick needs to spend some more time recruiting and less time going to his girlfriend's adult co-ed cheer competition.
How did I not know that she did that? That seems weird to me. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, like there comes a point where it's like, okay, if you're not cheering for like the Denver Broncos or the Dallas Cowboys or something, you should probably hang it up. Like you're married, you're about to get married. Are they married? Engaged?
I think they're engaged.
You're engaged to Bill freaking Belichick. Like
hang it up.
Just hang it up. Go be that or whatever. But yeah, no, I think you're right. We've talked about this on the show several times before. Like, it's no longer really about like having to go to the name brands, having to go to those blue bloods, right? Because you can get a guy to go anywhere if the price is right.
Yeah.
And if you go to a school that is bought into you, which I would assume Virginia Tech is probably bought into James Franklin. James Franklin, easily the best coach since Frank Beamer. And I mean, is that fair to say? Is there an argument for another coach between Frank Beamer to James Franklin? So, and you can go out there and you can build a roster the way that you want to build it, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised because Penn State lost their head coach, all of those players have the freedom to move where they want to. Wouldn't be surprised if we maybe saw Drew Aller after getting hurt this season. If he's able to come back for next season, would not be surprised if we saw Drew Aller do that late late in his college career transfer thing to go to a new school, follow his head coach, follow the guy that recruited him. So there's a chance that Virginia Tech looks vastly different next season, talent wise, I'm looking at, kind of their schedule this year. They were, they're sitting at 3-7 right now. Obviously they've just had a terrible year. That's why they fired their head coach. Last year they finished this season 6-7. 2023 they were 7-6. 2022 3-8. Canceled their last game of the season for whatever reason. I actually don't know the story behind that. 2028 they were 6-7 again. So it's just like there's plenty of room for improvement at Virginia Tech, and I would put, like, if I was a betting person, I would bet that James Franklin has this team competing for the ACC championship in year one next year.
Yeah, I mean, he won had a lot of 10-win seasons at Penn State, a couple of back-to-back 10-win seasons at Virginia Tech, and you are like in rare company for the last decade. Yeah. And looking at the college football playoff top 25, the top 5, there are 2 blue bloods. So you can do it anywhere. If you got the right financial commitment, you got the right head coach, you can do it just about anywhere. So shout out to James Franklin for signing with Virginia Tech. He got a little emotional talking about some people affiliated with the program. I mean, I think he was ready for a breath of fresh air. You could tell, and
he needed it. I just you can think back to the expression on his face when they lost that game to Oregon in overtime. He was just like,
"What do I got to do?
What am I not doing right? That why can't we do that? Why can't we win these games? So this just going to be a really great opportunity for him just to step back and maybe take a step down a rung or whatever, if that's even a thing in college football anymore, and go build something in a completely different place."